Is this thing on? What's up, you sexy motherfuckers? Welcome to another episode of Dumb Blonde. Today we have the ultimate rock star, Jacoby Shaddix is in the house, baby.
What's up? What's up? What's good?
Dude, I've been trying to get you on here forever.
I know, it's been a minute.
What the hell?
I'm glad we finally made it happen.
I know.
I'm super stoked.
Dude, me too. I was watching you do everybody else's podcast and I was like, why is he not coming on my podcast? I know. I'm like, dude, put our name in the hat. I want Jacoby on. And the one reason why I wanted you on so badly is because I honestly feel like you are the true definition of a rock star because you take accountability, your vulnerability, and your self-awareness is top tier.
I mean, sometimes I feel like I'm like too self-aware. You know what I mean? I'm like critiquing everything that's going through my mind, every thought, every decision, every move. But I think also like that's been one of my gifts as well, is to like really take accountability, to be self-aware. And I think that's really how I've grown. And it's given me an opportunity to have a career. I think if I just kept rolling like a bull in a china shop, like I was when I first came in the business, I don't think it would have ended well. And so I think just kind of having some of that clarity has given me, you know, a shot to keep doing this thing. And I'm so grateful. I've been in the games. We started the band in '93. So it's like, I've been in it, doing it for a long time. And, you know, I'm just grateful that I could still be doing this and still be making an impact and still be touching people's lives through this music. And, you know, for you to say like, this cat's a rock star, it's like you married to one of the best, you know what I mean? So it means a lot.
Yeah, no, I mean, real recognized real. And that's why my husband loves you so much too, because you are just who you are. But do you think that, you know, the growth and evolving is what has kept you in the game as long as you've been?
Absolutely.
Like, sincerely, if you... I went through my party stages too back in the day. Hold on, here's my husband. We have to take this call. We have to take this call.
I gotta pop up right quick.
Okay, I love you. Bye-bye. Okay, bye.
Yeah, I watched his Rogan podcast, and he was talking about his whole journey, and I was so impressed.
Yeah,
it's so awesome to see that, just that miraculous change in him. And you know, I'll be straight, like he was one of the guys I was like, is he gonna make it through?
Worried about him. No, like, as his wife, him, you know? I was worried about him.
Even
you know?
like Marilyn Manson for a while, when I heard like he had like switched things up, and he was another one of those guys, I was like, is he gonna make it out? You know? And it's just so cool to like see that transformation in people. You know, I've experienced that in my own life, and I get the struggle. I get that, just feeling like you're just stuck in this like this prison inside of ourselves. And I think for me, I mean, mine was like drinking, you know, and it evolved into the pills and some of that, but I just felt enslaved, like truly in bondage to it. And so, you know, to see people go through that transformation, it's so powerful. And it's like what we can do with our lives once we like shed that old shell of ourselves. It's like, I mean, that's another reason why I'm still in the game. It's like the sky's the limit. It's like it gave me another shot at life. It gave me, you know, like a renewed like passion,
sense of purpose.
Yeah, it just gave me so much. It helped me like restore relationships, you know, rebuild a relationship with myself, you know, like looking in the mirror and like just for years just going, fuck you. You know, and that like just that raw feeling of like just kind of self-hate, and to just not be in that place anymore. It's like, gosh, freedom.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
I saw a viral clip of you actually talking about your faith and about how you got saved. And it actually made me tear up because, you know, I'm on my own journey with God too. And so is my husband. And just seeing somebody who has an ear on the youth the way that you do, because I mean, you can sit behind a pulpit and preach all day long, but you have one hit song and that you're going to reach millions and millions of people who need to hear that. And so to hear that coming from you standing on the stage, like that was really awesome.
I'd tell you this, like my faith walk has been like a wrestling match, you know, and it started with my sobriety. I started going to meetings and going to recovery houses and stuff like that. And, you know, they're like, yo, you need to find God, or a God of your understanding. And it was a journey for me for years. And I'll tell you, like the two things, like the two things I never wanted to be in my life was sober and a Christian.
Right.
And like, look, and here I am now, you know what I'm saying? Like
So
a follower,
powerful.
a sober guy. And, but it was a rocky path, you know, to find that, and a lot of failure and a lot of questioning and, you know, turning my will over to God and following, and then taking it all back and then living my way. And then, you know, repeatedly finding myself like just in that deep, dark hole. And, you know, when I finally put the bottle down and really like, it was that foxhole prayer, you know, where I'm just like, God, like, do you just hear me? Can you hear me? Like, I need a miraculous change. I need something like beyond what I can do. Cause I kept trying to like control the change in my life. And, the walls fell, you know, and I had a fella that I was real close with that kind of walked my faith journey out with me. And, you know, I was like very skeptical and very like, these church people are weird, you know? And then when I saw like this faith walk, like alive in front of me, and somebody like talking the talk and walking the walk, and I saw the transformation, it became alive to me. And I was less fearful of, all right, I'll try to believe, you know, and then it became like, I'm a full blown believer. Now it's like, I'm doing a Bible study with a buddy of mine. And like, it's tripping me out, because it's like, I'm starting to experience like different levels of freedom, of bondage of self, and like things that maybe I once thought were acceptable in my life. Now I'm like, nah, man, that ain't serving you, man. It's not working for you anymore. It's like, it's hindering your growth. It's messing up relationships. This is a little secret that you're keeping back, tucked away over here. You know what I mean? And like, the more that I like purge these things and turn it over and just walk in the light, it's just, I feel like it's the way, it's the path, you know? And cause I've tried the other way, you know what I mean? And it's like, you know, the whole rock and roll, and I was kind of I didn't want to share it with people because I felt that it wasn't edgy and it wasn't rock and roll. And I'm like, again, like, I'm not here to prove like that I'm like edgy and rock and roll. Like I
think you've already proven that.
Yeah, I done lived it, and I saw where it like was taking me. And I'm like, and then I watched the VH1 specials of like, for instance, like bands like say Aerosmith, right? And it's just like, you hear this like downward spiral and this just wreckage, and the family's falling apart. And I'm like, I'm trying to like break that chain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm here trying to break that chain. I ain't trying to like repeat, because the Shaddix family, like where I'm from, my people, like I come from a long line of alcoholics, cheaters, broken people, murderers, that type of lineage. And so I'm like, that's not who I am. That's not like why I'm here. That's not me, you know?
Jacoby, that's beautiful. And I feel like that's what people need to hear, especially from somebody like you. And I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Because
Thank
to
you.
say what you just said, all of that, like, and I want to clip that because it was just so beautiful, is just, you're bringing people to faith and letting them know that it's cool.
Yeah, you know,
we're making God cool again.
Well, even like, you know, watching you and Jelly at your life and the arc of you guys from afar, it's like, I see the same in you guys. And it's like, Jelly, you know, when he's talking about God on stage, like, I love that. That inspires me. It makes me go, okay, I can get up here and talk about this. And, you know, the more and more I open up about it, the more and more I realize, like, I'm not in this rock and roll family and in this rock and roll world. Like, there's more believers than I realized, you know.
Yeah.
I was out on what was it? We did Whiskey Jam the other night.
Yeah, congratulations on that.
It was dope.
I love that. And the viral clips of you singing, I was like, go Jacoby.
It was cool as a dream, you know. So growing up a Johnny Cash fan, like to be able to step, you know, on Broadway and know that I'm gonna go perform in a venue that, you know, maybe he had once walked through or, you know, had a drink in or whatnot. Like, just to know that like this is his town, and to get up in there and play a song stripped down, it was just a vibe.
We need to get you in the Ryman. We need to get you to do a stripped down acoustic show in the Ryman, because that's like, I'm telling him right now.
Yeah, dude, call your people.
We're rooting for you. If anybody can make it happen, it's my husband for sure.
Yeah, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. We premiered a brand new song. We got this song called "Wake Up Calling." It's about to drop in a couple days, and this one is like, I'd say it's like somewhere in between like Scars Papa Roach and Leave a Light On Papa Roach. And so we started the song on an acoustic guitar, built it from there, and then built it into this really emotive rock track, and then did the acoustic jam and just stripped it back down to the purest form. As I get older and the more we write, I love that experience of just stripping the track down and just starting from the, just the nuts and bolts of acoustic guitar and a vocal. And if you could build it from there, I feel like there's something special.
It's just so personal too.
Yeah,
like
totally.
Whenever you can connect with your audience with just a guitar, your voice and emotion.
I wish I could play guitar too, and I'm terrible. I'm like, I got dicks for fingers.
My husband tries to pretend that he can play guitar, and I'm like, one song, and it's his song with MGK. Like he taught himself.
Hell yeah.
He literally taught himself how to play that song, and it's the cutest thing. Yeah,
good on him.
So let's circle back and just talk a little bit about your childhood, because I truly believe that people's childhoods influence their decisions later on in life. And you grew up in California. Your parents split when you were younger.
Yeah.
Can we go on that journey of where so much hurt and so much of your pain had come from? Because you write about it in your lyrics, but I don't ever really hear you talk about it.
Yeah. So my father, Richard Kent Shaddix, he was a Vietnam veteran. He grew as I think the 9th child in his family. And he was just dealt with a pretty raw set of cards. He was drafted to Vietnam, went to Vietnam, fought a war he didn't believe in. Just trauma on trauma on trauma. And my mom, she's like just a sweet girl, born in Michigan, came out to California, fell in love with this wild hippie. And when my dad came back from Nam, he wanted to be a recluse, so he was like, I'm gonna go live in the high country. My parents, were really poor, but I think in the 70s, it was like, being poor was, it's not such a big thing when you're like living that hippie lifestyle. They were living in a van, it's like, I've lived in some very interesting places as a child. The first year was in a van. Next one was in somebody's screened in laundry porch,
Wow.
And so not necessarily homeless, but we didn't have
gypsies.
A house of our own.
You guys were kind of like gypsies.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
And then we lived in a teepee for a year. Like no lie.
How old were you?
I was probably like 2.5, 3 years old.
Wow.
We did that. My dad then became a logger for a while, and he was all the while like, partying and raging and disappearing for a couple weeks here and there. And we lived in a tent for a while when he was logging. And then finally my mom kind of had enough. And she was just like, we need to like live in a home. Like we need to stop being gypsies. Mm-hmm. And so we finally settled in this place called Nippanawasi, which is like NorCal, kind of by a place Sewanee up in, where Yosemite is.
Yeah, a little bit. Is it up by like
Central
San
California,
Luis Obispo area?
No, Central California hills.
Okay.
Just kind of tucked away from society. And so my dad was a recluse and had his own problems and his struggles. And I idolized him. I thought he was just the salt of the earth because, he loved me. He loved me to death. He really did. But he just didn't know how to be an honest family man. And when he left, and it broke me. It just totally broke me. And it wasn't that he was ever abusive towards me at all. It just left this like hole in my heart, and
how old were you? And
I was, at this time I was probably like 7 or 8 actually, when they finally split. It was a back and forth. He'd come and go. And I just always was like, where's dad? And he was always absent. And once they finally split, he just disappeared from my life. And that was like, that was traumatic for me just because it was like, he was my hero.
That's abandonment.
It was her. It sucked. And to anybody that's gone through that, it's terrible. And so I vowed to myself, I didn't want to, repeat that cycle. And so I think that was the beginning of this, like this trauma in my life that I didn't really know how to heal from. And, my mom started dating, and she met this guy who eventually became my stepdad. And I was a horrific stepson in the beginning. I remember we were celebrating his birthday this one time, and my mom got the cake and they're singing happy birthday. And I like threw the cake on the floor, you know, like
Aw,
just
you
like
were hurt.
Oh yeah, I was
You were rebelling.
you know, I look back on it and I'm kind of like, okay, like it's not so bad, but then I just was that abandonment, right? And I think that I didn't fully recover from that until I was probably in my mid 20s. I think when I finally sought him out and, you know, had a deep conversation with him about who he was and why he left and really never turned back. And it's, you know, what's so wild? Like once I got to know him a little bit, it was, you know, I spent a couple days with him and we got deep. I just remember sitting on this hilltop and he was telling me the story of his life. And I just felt sorry for him. You know, I just, when I found out like what he had been through and who he was, and I just asked him straight up, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why did you like never try to like search me out? And he's like, I just thought that you just hated me. I thought you would just reject me. And I'm like, quite the opposite. Like, I just wanted to like know who you were, you know? And that was like, that was a tough, but healing moment, you know, and in the process of being a young kid and having this stepdad that loved me, I never really like allowed that love I never knew how to accept that love. I knew he did.
You didn't want to get hurt again.
Yeah. And yeah, I think that's what it was. And my mom is just the salt of the earth, an amazing, loving, compassionate woman that, just taught me so much about life. And, you know, she taught me empathy. She taught me kindness. She supported my creativity. And so I think my mom, you know, as she remarried, she wanted to provide like a stable environment for me to grow up in. And my stepdad now, it's like, he's my guy. No. Like Bill Roach is the man.
Bill, my dad's name is Bill.
Okay, cool. All right, shout out to Bill.
We love the Bills.
That's right. And you know, he taught me like consistency. But I'm just so much different than him. I had this reckless spirit and this free spirit and this creativity in me that just needed to like come out. And you know, he provided this place that was safe, but I always just had this like hole in me, and I didn't know how to really come to terms with it until I had a bit of reconciliation with my father and understood who he was and why he made the decisions he made. You know, and my mom always warned me. She's like, you are like, she would point things out in me that reminded her of my father, good and bad. Right. And she was always like, you know, you better be careful because like, you know, this drinking thing, like your dad he had a bad problem with it, you know? And I think she was trying to guide you. Yeah. She was trying to like warn me like, hey, and I'm that type of knucklehead. Like I got to go hit the wall at 100 miles an hour myself to really like, to learn.
When did you start drinking?
I started, I think, well, my mom said when I was young, they had these raging parties and I would like go around and like sip the bottoms of the drinks. But that's
I did the same thing at my parents' parties.
Yeah, I was like, I was just that young kid, you know, just wanting to, you know, get outside of myself and not feel like myself, I think. But it wasn't till I was, I think it was like 14 that I
think that's when everybody starts experimenting with alcohol.
And my first experiment went horrifically wrong. You know, it's
Do tell, we would like to hear.
Oh gosh. So, well, one of them was the first time I got caught, my parents had vodka and they kept it in the freezer and I kept drinking it. And then this wasn't the bad one, but I kept drinking it and then refilling it with water.
Oh gosh.
So then, you know what I'm saying? Like you eventually drink so much, it started to freeze, right? Yeah. My parents were like, Kobe, like, what are you doing? I'm like, what do you mean? No, that's not me. It's not me. You know, well then I was like, I got that taste for it because it made me like have this kind of sense of ease and comfort. And my stepdad had taught me about hard work, right? So I started working, I had my own business. It was Jack of all trades. I had this little flyer and it was like, I have a wheelbarrow, I will travel, I'll pick weeds, I'll mow the lawn, I'll babysit.
So you've always been a hustler?
Yeah, totally, 100%. And so that was like 14 years old, and I had my business. I went and made some money, and my friend William Lene was like, dude, it's my birthday. I'm like, dude, I got like $30, dude. Let's get some vodka for us. And the homie went, it was this guy I was friends with. He was like over 21. He went and bought me this bottle of vodka. I went to my friend's house, and we drank this thing to the bottom. And he was like, there was this girl around the corner from his house. He wanted to profess his love to her because, you know, you make all the right decisions when you're hammered.
And 14.
Yeah, dude, we crawled over there, and I was puking in the road, you know, blacked out. He's trying to confess his love. They call the cops. We get detained. And the next day was like, walk of shame back home. My parents, you know, were like, what are you doing? Like, and I'm like, oh, I don't know. I just wanted to party. And that was like kind of the beginning for me. And I really started to like, you know, take my sips when I could and, you know, stand out in front of the grocery store. And when I saw somebody 21 or older, I'm like, hey man, you pick me up a couple 40s, you know, and
I feel like kids these days will never know those.
Oh, dude,
times.
I was that dude. We did beer runs.
We did it
man.
too. Oh, the beer runs, dude.
They
Bring
made me
them
feel
back.
alive.
No, I'm just kidding.
I was like, oh yeah, dude, I'd be in my little Red Ranger in the front, and Tober, my bass player, would run in there, grab a case of beer, dude. We go out to the cuts, the barn, you know, do the bonfire and the drinking and the whole deal. And, you know, eventually, you know, started smoking. And then I remember I got my wisdom teeth pulled, and they gave me a bottle of Vicodin. That's when I discovered Vicodin.
Me too. Yeah. It's in my book that I'm about to drop. Yeah. I call it getting percolated.
Oh, dude, I was twerkulated. Man, I did not take as prescribed.
Dude, at all. But the first time you take that pill and it gives you that relief that you've never had before, that's what gets you hooked. But then you'd never get that feeling again.
Yep.
It's you get it one time, it's euphoric, and then you chase that high for the rest of your
It's a bottomless pit.
Addiction.
It really is.
It is.
I mean, God, yeah. But you know, I had to touch that flame. That was like the thing. And all around this time, you know, I'm in high school, right? So
when does music enter? Have you always been musical? Where does the musical chops come from?
So music is in the family. My grandmother was a singer. Her father was in the big bands like in the 1930s and stuff like that. So he was in the pit orchestra for the Marx Brothers, and they did a lot of traveling, and he played piano and clarinet, saxophone, you name it, and did that life. And then my grandma sang in like the chorus lines and stuff like that. My mom wasn't really musically inclined, but had a love for music. And I just grew up loving music. Like it was just, I fell in love with, I remember Poison was like one of the first bands. I was like, dude, these guys are sick. Nothing but a good time.
I love all the hair bands. I still love Dudes in Makeup.
Oh yeah.
Like I love it.
I was such a huge fan. And shout out to Brett Michaels, dude. You're freaking awesome, dude. You're the real deal. But yeah, I discovered music, and I was the kid with the wiffle ball bat in the front yard playing air guitar and setting up the trash cans upside down in the garage. You know, playing with fire, beating on drums, putting on my own pyro in the garage, like doing, you know, just like a goofball. And I just had this love for music. And then when I finally got in high school and met my OG drummer, Dave Buckner, we were playing football in high school together. And I was a drummer, he was a drummer, and we were like, dude, let's hook up and like put our drum sets together to make like a real big drum set.
So you do play drums?
Yes, that was my first rock instrument. I grew up playing clarinet. I played I'm like a band geek. Yeah. And so I played in the school band. Sorry?
I played the viola. I was in band. Or no, I was in orchestra. I wasn't cool enough to be
the band geeks.
I wasn't allowed to be in band. I was in orchestra though.
Yeah, that's cool though. That's cool. That's what's up. So yeah, I went to band camp, did that whole deal. That was awesome. The band kids were wild. Yeah. Honestly, like we were wild. And I did some partying with the school band as well at band camp, straight up.
Was it like American Pie?
Straight, for real. For real. But yeah, band kids, orchestra kids, theater kids, we were like the D-Lo crazy wild ones. But I also played school sports, and that's where I met Dave, the drummer. And so we put our drum sets together. And he turned out to be a way better drummer than I was. And so I was like, all right, well, dude, I want to play. Let's make music. And so I love Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I just thought he was the coolest. And so I was like, well, I'll buy a bass. And so bought a bass guitar. And I wasn't so good at bass. And at this time I was working at this place called Fresh Choice. And this is right when I met my wife. Well, eventually would become my wife.
Yeah.
And I met her around this time, and I'm experimenting with music, and I'm starting to like, who's this girl? What's up with this right here? So then I'm at work one night, and I come out, and all the windows are busted out of my truck, and I'm like, what the? Oh, dude! I'm like, look, go in the back of the truck, and my bass is gone, and I'm like, yeah, what
Not
gives?
the
Like,
bass.
I can't be I'm not the drummer because he's way better than me, and now my bass is stolen. I'm straight broke. I'm living on my own at this time because I moved out of my house when I was like 17. You know, that typical story of like, if you don't want to live by our rules, you got to live on your own. And I'm like, well, good thing you taught me the hard work ethic because I could just go rent a room from the homie. I'm out.
Yeah.
You know,
You're like,
and
I got
like,
this. I know everything.
Yeah, I remember, and I had a little side hustle, you know, selling Mexican brown weed at the time too. So I had a little extra money on the side. So I was like, cool, I could pay my rent. Well, I got my bass stolen, and I was like, fuck, like I want to play music. And Dave Buckner was just like, dude, be a singer. It's free. And I was just like, all right, I'm gonna be a singer.
I love the logic. That's so real though. Like how deep and so just easy.
Yes. And that's what I did. I just grabbed a mic and started screaming on the mic in the garage.
Did you ever know that you could sing? Sorry
No,
to cut you off.
I was god awful singer when I first started. I wasn't one of those kids that was like the kid in the back of the room that was kind of gifted and like could sing and carry a tune.
Yeah.
Nah, dude. I was the kid that was like, I was friends with the stoners, the freaks, the geeks, the jocks, the popular kids.
Yeah,
I was kind of like friends with everybody. And so I was the guy that was like the ringleader in a way. And like, I knew how to like, you know, rally the people. And so I was voted most unique in my class. I guess that's like the most popular weird guy, I guess. I don't know.
It's a compliment though. It's a compliment.
Hey, I'll take it. But yeah, so I guess being a singer kind of felt like it was natural. I grew up playing a clarinet, so I understood like breath control and stuff like that. And so I got a mic in my hand, and it was just off to the races.
Game over.
Yeah, straight up. And I was like, I couldn't carry a tune, but I wanted to rap and I wanted to scream.
I find that so hard to believe that you couldn't carry a tune, especially listening to you now, because I think that you're one of the last of a dying breed, like one of the best rock front people. And I'm not just saying that because I am a huge music fan. My dad was a musician, so I grew up in the industry too. And you have just this presence. I've seen you perform, you know, and it's the way you command, the way you sing. Like, I just find that hard to believe that you didn't have that to start with.
If you listen to some of the early recordings, you'd be like, hey, wow, this is him.
I'm gonna go back and listen.
I don't want to. Don't even do it, please.
I'm doing it.
It's honestly, like, I've made all my creative mistakes in Papa Roach, because Papa Roach is my first band. Like, I didn't start like 20 different bands and go, you know, this, that, and the third. It was like,
I read that you guys were originally called Kobe Dick, though.
Well, I used to be called Kobe Dick. That's what they used to call me back in the day. So that name came from my wife had. Yeah, we were married at this point. We were married. She was the one with the good credit.
Yeah.
And the band, we all had terrible credit, and we needed
shout out to wifey.
Yeah, dude, for real. Thank you, babe.
Yeah.
And she's
a real one, dude.
Yeah, she is a
30
real
years,
one.
And we're gonna talk about her later. But
and so she co-signed for us to get this van, and we called it Moby Dick. And all the boys called me Kobe, right? And I was like, it just stuck. They were like, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm Kobe Dick, driving Moby Dick, dude. This is my deal, you know? And it just kind of stuck. And so, yeah, man, that was my AKA back in the day. I was a big Wu-Tang fan too. So it was like, Wu-Tang had all these like aliases.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was cool, you know? But eventually I was like, I kept reading, and like after we became popular and the band blew up, in like magazines, it would be like, Dick says, and I'm like, do I want to be known as Dick my whole life? Like, I just, my original name, like my birth name, Jacoby Dakota Shaddix, is way cooler than Kobe Dick.
That's a rock star name.
Yeah, totally. And
you
I'm like,
can't have a name like that and not become a rock star.
Exactly. I was like, I gotta go back to the OG name, but yeah, I'm a little all over the place. But yeah, Kobe Dick was my name back in the day. Mr. Dick if you're nasty, Dr. Dick if you're sick.
So did you rap whenever you first started, or were you singing?
I wanted to be like a cross between like Wu-Tang, you know, Method. I wanted to be a cross between like Method Man and Chino from the Deftones. Okay. Those were like two of my and totally like polar opposite types of artists.
Right.
But I just had this really like eclectic, diverse love of music. And I was off to the races, you know, like once I had that mic in my hand and, you know, we started playing shows in front of people and we played all the backyard parties, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We put on parties. I remember
the grind. That was like, in order to get discovered back in the day, you had to fucking put in work.
Oh,
like nowadays you make a TikTok go viral and you're on the charts. And it's like, you guys, like, even I did it with my husband. We had to grind.
Yeah, you grinded it
out. I
out.
saw him play to shows of 5 people.
Yep.
You know, like, but that, I feel like that makes for like such great artists.
Oh, absolutely. I think that it's like, those are the moments, the proving grounds, I think, for real artists. Like if you can thug it out through those rugged moments, right? Where I remember, like when you were saying like playing in front of 5 people, I remember being in Denver, Colorado at this place called the Lion's Den. And we played in front of 7 people and 2 of them were the bartenders.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's
we've had nights like that.
Oh,
yeah,
I remember.
Totally.
I remember playing in like Tucson, Arizona, and we showed up and we're handing out our demo tapes. And then we start playing and people start throwing our demo tapes back at us, like at our faces. And I'm like, fuck you. You know, so we had all those moments where it was just like, what got us through those moments that were tough was the brotherhood, you know, and like working through those moments, being poor together and barely scraping enough money together to get enough gas to the next city.
Yeah.
And I think those moments, like you guys have lived through yourselves, right? Where it's like, it just builds character.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, that's the stuff.
Humbling.
Exactly. Very humbling.
Yeah.
But then it's like, I found so much joy. Like as I look back at those moments, there was like so much joy and so much fun in the discovery of like traveling to a new town, meeting new people. You know, we had a mailing list. Oh, we got 25 names on the mailing list tonight, you know, and like, oh, we sold 30 t-shirts and we got $300 in the band fund, dude. We're balling, dude.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, we can go to IHOP tonight, you know, like I look back so fondly on those moments and so grateful that we had those moments, because when the times got tough after, you know, we had our success and we kind of had an arc and it felt like the industry we were done and over with. Like those were the moments that got us through the dark times in our career after like big popularity. You know, we'd pick each other up and dust each other off and go like, all right, man, we got this. Like we just keep thugging it out. Let's just keep pushing forward. And so it built that brotherhood strong.
Yeah. And character.
Yeah, for sure.
And the trust.
I got mad character.
Yeah, for sure. Nothing like being broken down on the side of the road and just having to hitchhike or find a ride to the nearest gas station to change a flat tire. Yeah, I get
that
it.
Moby Dick, dude. I remember where that thing died, dude. We were on our way to Vegas, dude, and we're going uphill and it's like overheating. It's like, you know, the thing dies on the side of the road. We got a call like AAA, we hitchhiking. We eventually got to Vegas. We were 3 hours late for the show. We put the show on anyways, you know, like those are the moments.
They are the moments that I always tell Jay, like, cause we have so much going on now. And sometimes I look at him when it's just me and him and I'm like, do you ever miss when it was just us? And like, 10 years ago when it like none of this was around. And he's like, absolutely. Like, cause it was so simple, but it was like so fulfilling at the same time. Even though we were struggling like a mofo, it was just those moments were just so cool.
Yeah,
so,
I agree. It's like, you know, that saying, more money, more problems.
For sure.
It's real.
Absolutely.
It's just, you know, but it's like, it's also, how do we navigate those problems now, right? It's like, and things that sometimes I think are problems, like, man, that's a champagne problem, dude.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm like, fuck, dude, I'm going to Nashville. The flight's canceled. I got a middle seat. And I'm like, champagne problems, dude.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Humble yourself, bro. You're going to Nashville to rip a new track. Stop being a little... I got this saying my brother-in-law taught me. He's like, DBAB. I'm like, what's DBAB? He's like, don't be a bitch. I'm like... True.
You're like, noted. I'm going to write that down.
Yep, I did. I literally have a jacket that I wear. It's this camo jacket. And on the inside of it says DBAB. You know, I was like, because we were doing these acoustic runs and I was just exhausted. And I'm like, oh, God, I just want to do this. I'm like worn out. I look inside my jacket. I'm like, all right, cool.
You said something in a podcast that actually stuck with me when I was on the treadmill last night. You said, when I make plans, God laughs.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, that's so real.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, I'm stealing that. So if
For
you ever
sure.
hear me say that, I will credit you.
I probably stole it from somebody else. You know what I mean? It's just one of those sayings. It's like, yeah, when I make plans, God laughs. And
but
yeah,
it's so
like,
true.
Yeah, it is, man.
So moving forward, let's talk about when you guys, in 2000, when you guys drop your, was it your first big album that made it big?
That was our first major label record. Yeah. And so, 2000, I mean,
it was Infest, right?
Yes. Infest is the first one. And so at this point, right, we started the band in 93. We put out a bunch of independent EPs, you know, DIY, selling them out the trunk of the car, showing up to corn shows with a boombox and like walking the line, like, what the fuck, Papa Roach, $5? What the fuck, Papa Roach, $5? And I'd sling in the CDs like that, you know? Mm-hmm. And we learned that from like the hip hop culture, you know? And I love that hustle was alive. And it fit with my personality so well. I was just like, I'd be like, yo, what's up? I'm Kobe Dick. I'm about to sell you this record. You don't even know you're about to whip out $5. You give it to me before, you know? And I just was that guy. And so all the while we're sending off our music to all the record companies. We're getting turned down by everybody, you know, from, I mean, you name it. We're not enough for the punk label. We're not metal enough for the metal label. We don't have a like an image, you know, like you guys don't have, who are you, you know? And I'm like, well, fuck, dude, we're P. Roach from Vacaville, California. What the fuck? Like, what else do you need? And I had this delusion that I was ready for the big time before I was ready for the big time.
But that's what got you to where you are.
Totally. Like 100. I feel like
you manifested.
Yeah. It's those delusions of grandeur, like really served me well. And we eventually got a demo deal with with Warner Brothers. And we went and recorded like Last Resort and a handful of other songs. And then our A&R in that process got fired. And I'm like, I remember being in the van and just sitting with the boys going, like, what are we going to do, man? Like, we'll just put it out independently, you know? And so that was the MO. So we're like, let's finish mixing these tracks. Well, while we were mixing these tracks, DreamWorks Records hollered at our management. They're like, we want to come down and hear some of the songs. So they came down to the studio, heard the songs, and they were like, all right, like, they started to pursue us, court us, you know, take us out to dinner. We're like, oh, we'll take all the free dinners we can. We're hungry.
Yeah.
You know? So we did that. And we eventually got a deal with DreamWorks. And that was just like, oh my God, you know, I felt like I had made it to the top, you know, but, you know, all the while I realized like I was just at the bottom of another mountain, but grateful. And we went and recorded all these songs, and the A&R told the producer, Jay Baumgarten, he's like, don't mess with this band. Like, just let's get a great quality recording of these band's songs. You know, let's not try to like rewrite and rearrange, and like there's something magic in what these dudes are doing. And so we went in and recorded it. And this is like at the point where like drinking really is starting to take off for me. I'm a couple years into my marriage. My wife, Kelly, she's like, honey, like, you got to watch yourself. Like, you better check yourself. And I did not want to listen. I wasn't listening. You know, I was kind of off to the races, as they say. And you know, when you're at the studio and you're like, you got a runner, and they're like, is there anything you guys want? And I'm like, fuck yeah, I want a handle of vodka and like a bag of weed. Let's go.
But also it probably made you feel like you could be more creative too.
At that time, yeah, it was like, it was part of the creativity. Right. And I felt like, yeah, man, let's get the creative juices flowing. And it was part of it, you know? Part of the life and
it was
part
a
of the culture.
lifestyle for us. Yeah, it was part of the culture. It was like a lifestyle for us that grew up in the 90s and the 2000s. We didn't like, all the kids work out now. And like everybody's like, it's like a completely different culture. We grew up going to ditch parties and, you know, having kegs and drinking 40s of Old E. And like, it was just a different lifestyle back then.
Absolutely.
Not that I'm making excuses. I'm just painting a picture. Yeah,
the culture
for
of it, that's just what it was. It was so, you know, and I think, you know, the parents weren't so like, like worried about it.
They were doing the same thing.
Kids will be kids. Yeah. My parents were partying and doing the whole damn thing, you know? Yeah. So it was just natural. And all the while, you know, we're recording this record and we got something great in the can. And I remember like the band was like, well, we're going to release this, probably sell like, you know, maybe 250,000 records, you know, if we're lucky. And I remember we got asked to come on Warped Tour. And Last Resort just came out on the radio, and this is our first single. And this song just caught fire. Like
Insanity.
It caught fire, and it's still on fire. Like 25 years later.
It's still on TikTok.
20,
going crazy.
Yeah, thank God.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's like, yeah, it is the gift that keeps on giving, straight up. And it was just like a rocket ship ride to the top. And I totally was not prepared. I didn't know how to act. I just was like, I was not trained for press. I was not, I had a big heart, and my intentions were good, and we were passionate about the music. And we went out there and we traveled the world, and we sold millions and millions of records. And it was a party on a party stacked on top of another party. And, I was just I became, after about a year and a half of this touring on this album, the questionable decisions started happening. The infidelity started to happen. The addictions were really setting in. When I would wake up and look in the mirror, I started to like hate the person that I saw, because I was beginning to, like, that voice in the back of my head of my mother telling me that, like, you better watch yourself. You might become like just like your father.
But how amazing is that even through all of that and the addiction, the infidelity and did you ever get into
I did cocaine a few times, like Dave Chappelle says, cocaine's a hell of a drug. But I never was like really into it. It was the drinking and the pills was the thing for me. I was kind of like a downer type of guy. And I'm super grateful that
people joke about OCD all the time. Like, oh, I'm so OCD. I like things neat. Yeah, that's not it. For me, OCD shows up in really normal moments with like something as simple as shaking hands with other people. A quick interaction can trigger intrusive thoughts and anxiety I didn't ask for. That's what real OCD looks like. And it's also why understanding OCD matters so much, because OCD is a lot more serious and a lot more misunderstood than most people realize. OCD is a serious and highly misunderstood condition that causes people to get stuck in a cycle of stressful, unwanted thoughts, intrusive thoughts, and repetitive behaviors and compulsions, which can become debilitating. OCD can focus on anything and often targets the things we care about most, causing us to question core values, beliefs, or feelings about our loved ones. But with the right kind of help from a specialized therapist who truly understands what you're experiencing and is trained to treat it, OCD is extremely manageable. At NoCD, every therapist deeply understands OCD. NoCD is the world's leading OCD treatment provider, and all of their licensed therapists go through extensive training to recognize and effectively treat OCD. NoCD therapists work with you in live face-to-face virtual sessions, and NoCD makes sure you're supported between sessions with powerful in-app tools, therapist messaging, peer communities, and live support groups, all in the NoCD app. If any of this sounds familiar, don't wait. Visit nocd.com and book a free call with their team to get connected to someone who can help. That's nocd.com.
I didn't cross the line into like or anything like that, but I like to chew and vodka. Like that was like a recipe for
Mine was X and vodka.
Oh yeah, all that. I remember it all.
Same.
And some of it I don't remember.
Yeah. But how cool is it that you still had that conscience while you were doing all of that? You still, in the back of your head, you just knew that it wasn't right and that you didn't want to be that person.
Yeah, I didn't, and I had a wife that was my ride or die. And, she was like, yo, like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Why are you living like this? And
because she knew you before this.
Yeah, I mean,
she
dude,
knows
straight
the
up,
real
she
you.
fell in love with the janitor at the hospital. Mm-hmm. Like that's what my job was at the time, and like we got married and I was a janitor at a hospital. I was cleaning toilets, right? Mm-hmm. And so like that type of love, like you can't. That's a hard one to break, Mm-hmm. And like we like to joke, we're about to be 30 years married coming
3 decades. Yeah, that's wild.
Is it 29 or 30 coming up? I think it's 30, 90. No, it'll be 29. Next year it'll be 30. And so we're
close
coming up
enough.
on 29 and coming up. We're 28 right now. And we like to joke, you know, that the only reason we're still married is because we never wanted to get a divorce at the same time.
That's awesome, though.
And it's like, there's been moments where, you know, I was in full flight from reality and I didn't want to be in this relationship. And then there was moments where she didn't want to be in this relationship. You know, there was a moment where I was, you know, kicked out the house and we were on the outs and I'm living at you know, I got this big old, you know, mansion of a house and I'm living at my brother's in this little 10 by 10 bedroom out of the trunk of my, you know, Challenger car. My clothes are in there and I'm just kind of vagabond living and like trying to get my life right. And, you know, we've been through those moments, you know, we've been through the therapy, we've been through the marriage counseling, you know, countless attempts of sobriety, you know, and she's just loved me through the most broken, like my most broken moments in my life. And, I am blessed, you know, beyond blessed to have a woman like that like has loved me through my crazy. And,
she loves your soul.
Yeah. She sees something in me that I didn't see in myself a lot of the time. And, she's been patient with me and, she's allowed me to make some serious mistakes and forgiven me for those mistakes. And, you know, I mean, hey, it ain't perfect. It takes two to tango, you know, and it's like, you know, we've had our battles, you know, I mean, knockdown, dragouts, you know, throwing the dishes at each other, you know, War of the Roses type shit. And, it isn't all pretty, but I will say that, you know, back in the day, I got some advice from my bass player's grandfather. And he said, you know, some marriage advice. He was like, you know, a strong marriage isn't always going to be pretty. It's not always going to be loving, but it's the glue that you take the broken pieces and it's the glue that you put these pieces back together with that's going to be the strength that makes a loving marriage endure. You know, and I had to experience that. I had to like take the vase and just throw it at the wall and destroy it and go, oh God, like, and we both picked up the pieces and put them back together. You know what I mean? And that is, you know, now it's like, it's funny because we're like having conversations in our lives now about like, all right, like, what do you want to be called when you're a grandma? Like, what do you want to be called when you're a grandpa?
I love that.
You know, and it's like, because my kids are getting older now.
Yeah.
I mean, my oldest son, he's like 24, Jagger's 21, and then Brixton, my youngest, is 12. You know, and so, I mean, my kids are shooting live ones. So,
no.
I mean, slow down. Hey, son, I'm not ready. Just saying.
Grandpa Jacoby, what are you going to be called?
I'm going to be called Papa, and my wife's going to be called, Kelly's going to be called Go-Go.
Aww,
yeah, because she's just go all the time. Like my wife is like from 6:30 a.m. She is just like, I'm like, slow
I feel like
down.
you need that though.
Sit on the couch, babe. Chill for a minute.
I feel like you need that though because you seem like you're always go too.
We have to check ourselves sometimes and like check in with each other and go, hey, like, yo, we need a date night.
Yeah.
Like, it's date night.
That's how Jay and I are too. Sometimes we have to be like, dude, we haven't been on a date night in so long. Like we have to do something.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I think we do share a lot of similarities in that regard that we're both like, I'm a people person, you know, I'm outgoing. I think my wife is a bit more recluse. She could be the type that's like holed up in a house in the countryside and not see anybody for a month and be okay.
Yeah. I'm the same way.
Yeah.
Believe it or not.
She is go. You know, she got her things. We got our little, like in the backyard, we got the chickens and we got a tortoise and, you know, we got our pets. We got 4 dogs.
Would you guys move to Nashville and have a little farm?
I mean, the discussion has been had many times in our house. I think I've spent a lot of time on Realtor and .com and Zillow.
I have a realtor for you if you guys need a realtor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've talked. My brother actually moved out here. My brother loves it. He's been twisting my tits about moving out here for quite some time. My guitar player lives out here now.
I always say that Nashville is LA with a soul.
You are absolutely 100% correct.
Yeah, but I would anytime, because I'm from the West Coast. I grew up in Vegas. Anytime I go back to Cali or I'm in Vegas, I'm just always reminded of how commercial everything is now, and like it's lost its glitter. And when you come to Nashville, it's like everybody still has a soul, you know, and like everything is just so warm and inviting, and it hasn't been taken. I mean, it's corporate, but it's not like how it is on the West Coast.
No,
right
absolutely.
now.
I was just talking to somebody about that before I came here at the shoot, and it's like talking about the same exact thing. It's like the spirit of this city is real and it's alive, and it feels like maybe what LA felt like 20, 25, 30 years ago.
Yes.
Where it was just like the possibilities were there and the creativity was alive and the culture was like bustling, right? And there feels like this life in this city, especially when I went down to Broadway and we did that acoustic set. And afterwards I was just...
By the way, to cut you off really quick, can you please go play an acoustic set at our bar? Good Night Nashville, please.
Dude, it's funny, man, because I was like, the last time I was in Nashville, I was out here with both my brothers, and we were down on Broadway, and I was at this club across the street, and I was looking at Jelly's joint across the way, and I was like, that's dope. What's up with that? The skull with the crown up in the top. I was like,
we need you to go do one of these live sets.
Oh, yeah,
okay,
we will.
please.
We'll do it. We'll for sure do it.
Anytime you want, just hit Mimi. We'll plug you guys right in.
Okay,
you guys
cool.
go and do it. But what is it like playing on Broadway? And you went down on Broadway. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was just like, we want in on that too.
No,
you know?
your spot is dope, straight up.
No,
I hadn't been in it,
there,
but I looked at it from across the street at the rooftop bar, and I was like, that shit's popping, dude.
Yeah.
That's a great spot. But I was talking to a bunch of people afterwards, just kind of saying what's up to the fans. And I realized like there's so many people in this city that are all musicians, that are all, you know, either have made it and are just good people, or young people that came here to make it. And I just love the culture of that. And it's like, you know, when even just down to simple things like driving down the road, you know, and you know what I'm talking about?
The Jeep wave.
Dude, I'm telling you, I'm in Sacramento. I never get it back, dude. And I'm like, when I'm here and I'm like, everybody, I'm like, sup?
Yeah.
I fucking love that. And it's, you know, I got a boat. I finally just got a boat. And I live pretty close by the river. So boat people in Sacramento, though, everybody waves at each other when you got a boat. And so, but yeah, I like that soulfulness about this city. I love the food. I love the music. And so there's so many reasons for me to come out here, you know, but then it's also like home's home. You know, I never lived in LA. You know, I just go down there to make records. And so I live up in Sacramento. I've lived there for, you know, for the last, like around the area for the last 30 plus years. You know, when we started having babies and stuff like that, my mom and my stepdad stuck around the area. And so we got a tight village, you know, when I go home, it's like, I kind of got a small circle, you know? And so it's like, I spend more time with my parents than like I care to admit. You know,
but that's a great thing.
No, I mean, I'm not ashamed of it at all.
And spend as much time as you can, because I lost both my parents, 2022 and 2024.
Damn.
Spend as much time with them as you can.
Oh yeah, we do. We do all the, I mean, it's a regular thing for us. And that's what really is like, who's calling me?
Oh, I was like, whose phone is that?
It's probably my wife.
It's a vibe.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
If it's wifey, answer so we can say hi. I love that.
Sorry, let me just.
I love seeing you in dad mode.
Oh, dude, I'm fucking dad.
I bet you're like a cool ass dad.
I'm a rad dad.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna lie, dude. It is just, being a dad is like, it is just the joy of my life, honestly. And I think one of the cool things I think about being a father too is like, how can I say this? A lot of like my partying, like my raging, and I did it on the road, and I would come home and I would try to dry out and like just like white knuckle it through it. So my kids, although there was a lot of dysfunction, I really did my best to like hide it from my kids. And my older sons, you know, there's not a ton of recollections of me like being like drunk dad.
Aww,
you know, and so I'm really grateful that like I didn't really damage my kids through all that. And Brixton, my youngest, has never seen me drunk. You know what I mean? And I love that, you know, that he's been able to experience that like stability, you know, and Yeah, but being a fatherhood, I mean, fatherhood's the best hood. Fatherhood is sacred. It's the coolest shit. Like my kids are just, I'm football dad. My son, both my boys played football. They're both playing college lacrosse, and so I fly out there, I got my cowbell. I'm in the stands yelling and screaming for my kids. Like it is the joy of my life, outside of the music. And, it's something like me and my wife, we just are our kids' biggest fans, and it's like.
What do you think is the biggest lesson that your kids have taught you? Each one, because you have 3, right?
Yeah.
So each one, what has each one taught you?
Yeah, I think.
Because I feel like every child has different personalities, they teach you something different.
Mikhail is the most cautious and self-aware child I have. He's 24. And the thing he's taught me is, I'd say like patience and understanding in a way that he's just so loving and kind that I had to like check myself and slow my pace down and just be there in the moment with my son. He loves talking, right? Like when we get on the phone, he'll talk through the details of every little thing. And it's like, that's kind of like the way that we communicate when we're talking. It's like, he wants to talk through all the details of every part of his day. And I love that, like slowing down the pace of my life, because he knows how to do that. And I think that's so cool. And I'm so proud of that kid. And he's such a hard worker. He is just a grinder. Like he's going to college, he's gonna be a doctor, right?
Wow.
So, yeah. And
good for you. Good for you.
Yeah, dude,
Kelly.
he'll be a doctor of physical therapy. So my
Dr.
busted ass
Roach.
back. Yep.
Can he call himself Dr. Roach?
And so he's in his last year of school, and I'm just so proud of him. And just he's really been through some hard times and some heartbreak. Aww. And his life has inspired me to write some songs. And Jagger's like so much like me in the way of like she's got that big heart. He loves hard. He puts his heart on, he wears his heart on his sleeve. He's kind of the leader in the spaces that he's in, been the captain of his football team, et cetera, the leader of his friend group, that kind of thing. And then also the type that needs to like run 100 miles an hour into a brick wall and feel the pain and like the struggle and the strife and take his lumps. And, he's very bullheaded. And it's almost like he's kind of gotten some of the traits about me and my wife that we're both like, damn, dude, you got some of the harder edges of who we are.
Yeah.
But he's just got the biggest heart, and so Jagger, he's
And how old is he?
Jagger's 21.
Okay.
And he's that kid that, he tells me, he's like, Dad, like you're my safe place. Like you're my place where I can just let all my walls fall. And
that means so much for a child.
Just
to feel
be
like
vulnerable, and I'm just grateful that, both me and my wife, we have these very special, unique relationships with all of our kids, and so Jagger, I think that the thing that he's taught me is like, again, like I keep saying patience, but it's like, I just got to allow him to be him and not try to impose the knowledge that I've tried to raise him the best I can and love him the best we can and teach him as many valuable lessons as we can, but also like to allow him to be him and find his way,
right?
And I think that, he wants to go into the music. He grew up listening to, Yellow Wolf was like one of his favorite rappers.
We can connect you guys with Yella.
You guys Yella's cool, man. Okay. He's a real one.
Yeah.
I got a slum tat with Yella one night in a hotel room.
Oh gosh, okay. I should have known that you two found each other.
Yeah. That was a wild night. But Jagger's just he wants to get into the music. He's got a great voice. He's got a great singing voice. And
do you support it? Are you behind it?
I do. There's parts of me that are like, oh, are you sure? Because he's so similar to me that I just don't want him to like make some of the same mistakes that I've made. And, like the same way that my mother was kind of trying to warn me about the slippery slope of the ism, like he's got few of those characteristics, and I have to, you know, check in with him like, yo, dude, you good, man? You like, you using that drink as like a crutch? Like, what's going on? What's going down? Like, you know, he was the kid that I was like, you know, I caught with the vape pen at 14, and I'm going, nah, man, like it's a little too young, you know, but it's also like, how do you like, my friend said, he's like, you know, how do you beat the you out of your child? You know? And it's like, well, first, don't beat your child.
Yeah. No beatings.
But, you know, it's like those things about me that I see in him that might be challenges, or that's going to happen. You know what I mean? Like,
I think it's what you said earlier, though, with him, is that you lead by example.
Yeah.
Because that's what got through to you.
Yeah.
So that's what will get through to him.
And I'm, you know, we're doing and they're both great kids. They live under the same roof. And so I got to hear the drama, two brothers living underneath, you know, the same roof, and just, oh, F this kid, F, he leaves his crap everywhere. And I'm just like, dude, do not call me about this shit. Yeah. Put your, like, your big boy pants on and figure it the out. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, straight up.
You're like, try touring with freaking 10 people.
Yeah, exactly. Like in a tour. Yeah.
In one bus.
Ugh.
Yeah.
You could just smell the fart coming out of the bunk.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
I travel separately with my own bus when I travel with my husband on tour, because I am not about to bunk up with a bunch of dudes.
Yeah, all the boys.
Not happening. No.
Yeah,
we have the girl bus. There's like crock pot meals and like, you know, everybody's just having a good time. And then you go over to my husband's bus and it's just trashed everywhere.
Mayhem,
like,
pork chops got a all over the place, probably, right?
Well, yeah, Bussie's on the bus for sure, his dog. So circling back to the music really quick, can you please re-release Tightrope for me?
Dude, so we did a 2020 re-record of it. After like TikTok and stuff was popping, we were like, we're going to go re-record some of our songs. And so we did a re-record of Tightrope. And it's on Spotify. You should go check it out.
I will.
Yeah, the 2020
I didn't know
version.
That.
I actually just did... we did this kind of retrospective day today through all of our albums. My brother lives out here. He does all my social media. Mm-hmm. And so we actually did a few TikToks and Instagram type posts for that song Tightrope in particular.
It's one of my favorite songs.
You went deep on that one.
Listen, Tightrope, when that album came out, everybody loved, you know, all the other songs, and Tightrope would just resonated with me. Yeah, Tightrope has always been my jam. I loved that song. I just feel like, I don't know, I just felt the words. And then the other song that nobody ever really talks about with you is Scars.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I love, you know, Last Resort, and I love why you wrote it, because you wrote it about a friend who was going to commit. Can we talk about Scars? Because I feel like that solidified you as like legendary status and like staying in the game, because you can come out with that first record but there's always one hit wonders. Yep. And then, I mean, you've had way more than just Scars also, but Scars came next, correct? That was like your biggest one.
Yeah, that was a very like redeeming moment for the band, because after Last Resort and Infest, our first album, we toured the world. We sold millions of albums.
It's hard to follow up something like that.
I'm telling you, dude, it was just like we hit rock bottom for a minute, and it was like, I remember going out and touring on Love, Hate, Tragedy, the album after that, and we sold almost on the brink of 1 million records, and it was considered like a commercial failure. And I'm like, is it over? You know, because at this time it was like music in pop culture was changing. It was like the Strokes had came out, the Vines, the Hives, the White Stripes, all this new wave of music was happening, and we were not that, you know, and I'm like, dude, how are we going to survive this? And so we were back to the drawing board, and this was right. Scars was right at the time when this was the first time I tried to get sober. You know, I remember calling the producer, Howard Benson. I in a blackout, I was like threatening to burn my house down, and like it was, you know, luckily my wife didn't call the cops. She called my parents. You know, my mom came and just slap checked me into shape.
Sometimes we need those.
Yeah. And it was one of those like moments of clarity. That was one of the first moments of clarity for me. I was like, I think I got a problem. Like, this alcohol's got a hold of me. And I decided to get sober. And I called my producer, and right before we were moving to LA, Kelly and I, and my son, Mikhail at the time was maybe just like 1 year old. And I'm like, we're packing up the family. We're going down to LA, because I wasn't about to go down to LA just volatile and out of my head. And call my producer, and I'm like, I'm getting sober. And he's like, you're going to do what? And I remember he gave me attitude, gave me lip about wanting to get sober. He's like, that's what's fucking wrong with all these musicians now. Everybody's getting sober and everything's up rock and roll. And I just remember like hanging up the phone going, I'm rolling down to LA to go punch this guy in the face.
Yeah, that's
like,
terrible.
You. And I cooled off on the drive, got down there, you know, and we had this batch of songs, and Scars was one of those songs. And we presented all the songs to the producer. And it was one of those songs that the producer was kind of like, nah, I'm not so sure about that one. Like, it's good, but it's like, we would grade all of our songs. Like, this is an A song, this is a B song, this is a C song. And I think he graded it like a C. And we're like, we just knew that there was something special in this song. And I think that because it was so different from the sound of like, quote, Papa Roach, that it wasn't necessarily, it didn't really catch the ear of the producer. But I feel like whenever we do something that kind of makes me feel a little uncomfortable creatively,
vulnerable.
Yeah. It just, there's something special about that. And we held on to that. We're like, we have to like see this song through. And we did. And we got to the end of it. And we presented the album to Jimmy Iovine at the time, was the president of the company. And he's a very knowledgeable, well-respected, you know, industry music mogul. And we turned the record into him, and he hit us back, and he's like, well, you know, the song Scars, it's pretty good, but I feel like you need to go back into the studio and re-record it to make it sound more like It's Been a While by Stained. And I'm like, you mean? Like, it's like, I just was kind of like taken back, like, God, this music business is like, they're trying to tell us how to do what we do. And I felt
like he was controlling your creativity.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I was very offended.
What did the original sound as soft? No, I don't want to say soft, but sound as intimate as.
Well, so we went in and re-recorded the song, right?
Okay.
And it was the most like average white guy BS rock dribble that we had ever written. We turned it in. We're like, this is trash. And so the version of Scars that you hear now was the original version that we turned into Jimmy Iovine.
Okay.
So it was like, we went through the motions of like, all right, cool. We'll try to like appease you, which, dude, Stained is an amazing band. The song It's Been a While is an amazing song, but it didn't fit for Scars. Like for us to try to like revamp it to sound like that. We went through the exercise, went through the motions, but it just didn't hit the way that it was supposed to. And I think obviously he realized and was like, all right, we'll go with the original version. We'll go with your gut. You know, this is on you. And I'm like, that's right. It's on me. Like, let's go. And that album, we led with Getting Away with Murder, the song Getting Away with Murder. That song went to the top of the rock charts. And then when we released Scars, I'm like crossing my fingers. I'm like, fuck, dude, this is like sink or swim for us, because, you know, the industry's like starting to look back at us like, oh, this band is like a real thing. Scars went straight to the top of the rock charts and then moved up into the pop charts. And we had a top 5 Hot AC, top 5 pop record with Scars. And that was just like so validating. I only have one plaque of Papa Roach hanging in my house, and it's that for Getting Away with Murder, that album, because it just meant so much to me. Like, the first album was like, it was powerful, and you know, I mean, we sold more records on the first album than we did with Getting Away with Murder and Scars. But I think that kind of coming back from, I guess, almost the brink of disaster and complete utter failure as a band in the mainstream, to be able to come back and pop off again and sell, you know, nearly 2 million records on that album was like so rewarding, and just like, we can do this. Like, we broke the curse of being a one-hit wonder, you know? And so that song is like straight up like another one of those, a gift that keeps on giving. It's honestly become like a staple of who we are, you know? So it's funny because when fans talk to us about old school Papa Roach, I'm like, we've been around so long. I'm like, all right, like what era of Papa Roach do you think old school Papa Roach is? Is it 2005 Papa Roach? Is it the year 99 Papa Roach? Is it 2010 Papa Roach? Because, you know, we've like gained different fans at different points in our story. And so, yeah, it's like when somebody says old school Papa Roach, I'm just like, fuck, I'm confused. I don't know what you want. So we're just
like, I need a year. Tell me what year you're talking about here,
exactly. Buddy. And yeah, so Scars was definitely one of those songs that broke down a lot of barriers for our band.
Do you ever look back at your legacy that you've built and just be proud of yourself?
I think as I get older, and I think it was the year 2020 when we hit the 20-year anniversary of that album Infest, that I started to get that like proud dad kind of moment about what we'd done. And just looking at, man, we've done this, like this dream that I had when I was 14, 15, 16, I'm living it. Like this dream had become reality. Yeah, maybe at times it was a nightmare, but it really like, it is everything that I wanted and more.
It's the journey.
And it is. And you know, I look at it and I'm so grateful that, you know, I made the mistakes I made and I recovered from those mistakes, and I was able to grow musically, creatively, personally, spiritually, and in so many ways. And now, you know, it's like, here we are, it's 2026. Like my mind is blown. I'm still in the game.
Yeah.
You know, we just Leave a Light On, one of our last singles. You know, it's like, who would have thunk in a gajillion years that we would have an acoustic song that rock, you know, went to the top of the rock charts and you know, moved into the alternative space again. And then to like have a lady like Carrie Underwood bless the track. You know, I'm just like, I got to keep pinching myself. Like, dude, the gift just keeps on giving. Like it just keeps revealing itself to me in so many cool and fun and interesting ways that I'm just like, each day I wake up when it comes to this creativity, I'm like, all right, what do you got for me now, God? Like, where are we going? You know, it's like, it's a cool experience. And as hopeful as I am, it can be as dreadful as possible. Some days it was funny. Like 2 days ago, I woke up and I just was like on the phone with my wife, Kelly. And I'm just like, she's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, I just want to curl up in a ball and like not be Jacoby today. I just am like, I'm exhausted. And it's so wild how like I can wake up like that, like have so many gifts on blessings on blessings on blessings, and still wake up just not wanting to like get out of bed.
You're human.
And I was like, it sounds so corny.
No,
I'm like, babe,
doesn't.
Can you just tell me I'm the man? Like, just tell me I can go get this. Like, just like gas me up. I just need it. And she's like, you're the fucking man, honey. And I'm like, and it's like sometimes
she breathes life into you.
Yeah.
My husband calls me and does the same thing though.
Sorry?
I said, my husband does the same thing though.
Yeah. And it's like, I think that like that there's this brokenness that's still in me that I'm trying, and it's just a journey that I'm continually trying to heal in myself. And this music has just been, it's been a reflection of that. It's been the soundtrack of that. And my mistakes and my failures and my triumphs, they all come through, you know, and something as simple as my wife just saying, honey, you're the man. You could do it. Like I don't even know if she knows like how much those simple gestures or just like something simple, like she could just tell I'm having it like a day, and she'll just like reach over and like put her hand on my neck and like massage the back of my neck. And I'm just like, like everything's gonna be okay, you know? Cause it's like, I think there's a lot of weight I think I carry as
It's a lot of pressure.
As like, there is a lot of pressure in this business to like.
Well, there's a lot of pressure to continue.
Yes.
To keep going with Papa Roach. There's so much pressure because of all the years that you've been doing this.
Yeah.
Everybody's waiting for your next move.
Yeah. I ain't bulletproof. I ain't Superman.
Yeah.
But I sure as shit try to put on like I am sometimes. And when I am on stage, I feel that way. I really do. I feel like I'm like invincible. And then when I get back, come back down to earth and I like sit on the couch and like just take a breath and then the reality of just who I am sets in and I'm like, I'm just a man, I'm just a dude trying to get it right, trying to make the next right decision, try not to be a dirtbag, trying to be honest and make the next, right move. And, it's like.
Do you take breaks for yourself? Like, do you go on vacation? What do you do to reset your mental health?
Oh yeah. I had a conversation with one of my managers yesterday. I'm like, dude, after I get back from this trip, it's time to unplug. And he's like, actually, you got to come back to Nashville and shoot a music video in a couple weeks. I'm all gonna start to get pissed. And I'm like, quality problems.
Yeah.
Quality problem. But I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna chuck this phone.
My husband does that all the time.
I'm just like, I'm gonna turn it off. I'm just gonna go disappear. For me, getting out in nature is a huge thing for me. My fitness and my exercise is a big thing for me. Running has like been a comfort place for me. I live real close to the American River and there's all these horse trails that I'll just go out and I will go run those trails until I'm physically exhausted. And I just come back like renewed. And I work out, I don't run to music. So I process a lot of these questions and anxieties and frustrations and, songs come to me in those moments and lyric ideas come to me in those moments. And, so I do that. I'm very mindful of my eating habits and, just as Jelly, like, food has sometimes been a thing to me, like, I'm a binging kind of guy. And so putting those things in check and like having some discipline and obedience in my life has really like given me like, it's strengthened me, And I think also breath work has been something for me that's like
phenomenal.
Yeah. I during COVID, when everybody's locked up, a really good friend of mine, this guy named Sonny Mayo, was running he's a sober brother of mine. He was running a breathwork class on Zoom. And he's like, dude, you should show up to one of these. And I showed up and I did this 25-minute breath work. And it was just like a floodgate of emotion just broke in me. And I just like, just all these things that I was carrying around, it just flooded out. And he gave me some sound advice, because I was really struggling for a moment. And he's like, can I suggest something to you? I'm like, yeah, man, I'll take anything right now. And he's like, first thing you do when you wake up is you slide down off the side of your bed and you hit your knees and you pray. And then right after that, you grab your pad of paper and you go write 2 to 3 pages of just whatever's in your head.
Yeah.
And it's called Morning Pages. And so I did that for the better part of a year and a half. And the crazy shit I would write and just the things that were in my head. I was like, dude, are you okay? But I think that writing out that crazy was very therapeutic for me. And so these types of routines that I go back to when things are getting sticky, it's like breath work, meditation, prayer. Now I'm on to doing this men's Bible study, these things that I got this toolkit now when like life's getting shifty and I want to like, just make a bad decision. It's like, nah, dude, pause, like don't light your life on fire. Don't, and that's kind of what this
self-sabotage.
Yeah. Oh God. I was the king of it for years.
Yes.
And I've come to a point now, where it's like, I don't want to sabotage this thing. It's too good. I got too much to be grateful for, and gratitude is another tool of mine that really puts things in perspective. On my social media, that's kind of how I've chosen to participate with it. So I just put up a gratitude list.
Can we bring those back? Because I have been waiting for one, and I went to go look yesterday, and I was like, why haven't I seen his gratitude list? Yeah. And you haven't posted since last year.
Yeah, it's been a minute. Yeah, it was like July. Not that I haven't written gratitude lists. It's just, I just kind of was just like, I'm not going to post, but I should.
I don't think you realize how much those gratitude lists mean to people.
Okay,
because I would read them. I would read your gratitude lists and again, your vulnerability. I've always known the music.
Yeah.
I never knew you until I started following you. And then when you were doing those gratitude lists, it would like gave us a glimpse inside of it gave us a glimpse of your heart.
All right.
Where like we can hear your heart in the music, of course, but to see your words and just your vulnerability like that every day with your gratitude list was really a beautiful thing.
All right. Challenge accepted.
Bring them back.
I'll bring
baby.
it all back. I mean, it's it's a new year, you know?
I think you should. I really think you should. All right. I'm not going to keep you much longer because I feel like I've been talking your ear off also, but can we end this? I have Sharon Osbourne coming on the podcast.
Oh, really?
And I heard a story that Sharon crawled in your ass one time, but that like you really needed that.
Oh, yeah.
And I want to ask her about her version of it too, if that's okay with you, whenever I have her on the podcast next week.
Absolutely.
Tell me what happened with that.
Well, first off, please give her a big old hug for me.
I will.
And just tell her hello and warm regards, and, you know, just thinking about her, praying for her and her family during this tough time. And, you know, but yeah, that moment I was just, just drinking, trying to start riots. Well, I started a riot on Ozzfest, encouraged the fans to destroy the venue. They obliged and destroyed the venue. My A&R was like, dude, just jump in the back of my town car. Cause the cops were looking for me. And so I jumped in the back in the trunk of the town car, cause they were searching vehicles as I was leaving, got out of there. They ended up getting a hold of my A&R and said, listen, you know, like if Jacoby doesn't come back and surrender to the cops, he's going to get arrested for evading the police. And like, you don't want that. You don't want that type of smoke. So I turned around, I turned myself into the New Jersey State Police, and, I was detained, and, you know, they were cool enough to me. You know, I had to pay I was bailed out later that evening. I had to pay a massive fine. And then I was like, cool. I'm like, all right, going back to the bus. And they're like, I'll get back to the venue. And they're like, got to come talk to mama. And I went into the office and I had to sit down with Sharon, and she just chewed me a new asshole. She's like, you got the fucking world in the palm of your hands and you're just acting like an idiot. Come to my festival. You start a riot. You destroy the venue. And she just read me the riot act, you know, and like, she's like, you're lucky I don't kick you off this tour right now. You're lucky you're selling millions of records right now because you're been out of here, you know? And I just was like, you know, and
this little woman just chewing into you.
Just a pistol, you know, a fire plug. And, you know, I needed that. I straight up needed it. Like, I'm so grateful that she just checked me. And, it really, like, I was humbled straight up. I was like, God, I didn't want to like get kicked off Ozzfest, because it was like, yo, we were out on tour with, it was like Papa Roach, Linkin Park, Slipknot, Marilyn Manson, Ozzy Osbourne. Like, it was just the sickest
when the music was so good.
Yeah, it was so rad. And I am just so grateful that she just chewed my ass out and set me straight, because, you know, I had the world in the palm of my hands, and I was selling millions of records, and I didn't want to ruin my career. And it really like changed the way that I approached this thing. And, you know, I think I maybe set off a few more riots, you know, but just, they weren't on Ozzfest.
It was just on your way out. You just had to let everybody know that.
Yeah.
You know.
I was like, all right, so I'm still, you know, wild as fuck.
I still got it.
Yeah. And so, I definitely, I paid some fines in my day. And I was banned from that venue for years, and I eventually had gone back and was able to play there again, which was cool. We went back and did a tour with Nickelback and got back on that stage. And
Daddy
it was cool.
Chatty.
Yeah.
I love Daddy Chatty.
Dude, he's legit, man. It was a fun one on that tour.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you, Sharon, for ripping me a new asshole. I needed it. I'm healed from that, and I learned my lessons. So thank you.
We love that. Can we expect a country album from you since you're in Nashville so much?
Oh man, who knows? You know, I actually just I did some writing with this guy D-Ray, who's actually done some stuff with Jelly.
I love D-Ray.
Yeah,
D-Ray writes all my Christmas music.
Yeah, dude, D-Ray's the business, dude.
Yeah.
I love him, man. We became fast friends. We just wrote a couple songs together just recently, and yeah, you know, who knows? You might find me in Nashville dipping in the world a little bit. I'd love, you know, I think the way that I would like dip into it is to just guest on some country people's albums. I think that would be a natural.
My husband's about to drop a new album.
Oh, dude, hey, just holler at him.
I'll put it in his ear.
Holler at him. You know, I'm good for it.
I got you.
But yeah, who knows where it takes us? And you know, I just want to say congrats to you. Congrats to you and your family, and crushing it and killing it. And thank you for having me. It's been a long time coming. And you know, me and my wife were like, I was like, dude, I'm gonna be on Bunnie's podcast. She's like, oh, sick, dude, this is tight. I can't wait to watch, because she watches all your stuff. So.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming, Jacoby. I'm so glad we finally got to sit down. And anytime you want to come promote anything, anytime, my couch is always open.
Cool.
So
Thank you.
Let me know.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Dumb Blonde. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.